Today's forecast is one of those updates where you can really feel the atmosphere shifting gears. We are standing right at the beginning of what looks like a prolonged, volatile, and potentially high-impact winter pattern across a large portion of the United States. Multiple storm systems, repeated surges of Arctic air, and several windows where snow and ice could become major factors, all unfolding over the next 10 to 14 days. So let me walk you through what I'm seeing, how this pattern is evolving, and why the next stretch of winter weather could become one of the most active periods we've seen so far this season. Let's begin with what's happening right now. Today's system is already unfolding across the eastern half of the country, and as we head into the evening and overnight hours, snowfall continues to expand from North Carolina through Virginia, across the mid-Atlantic, and up into southern New England. By around 7 o'clock tonight, snow coverage becomes much more widespread, especially from central Virginia northeastward. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. We're already seeing flakes flying in parts of Massachusetts, and based on the latest short-range guidance, I think this system may end up performing a little better than many forecasts initially suggested. For areas like New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, and southern New England, the general call has been 2 to 4 inches. But I'm watching closely for pockets that push closer to 3, 4, maybe even 5 or 6 inches in localized bands. In southern Massachusetts, where the setup looks particularly favorable, I would not be surprised if a few communities end up crossing that 6-inch mark. This is not a blockbuster storm, but it's a clean, organized, moderate snowfall that will absolutely impact travel, evening plans, and road conditions in several major metro areas. Once this system pulls out, though, the entire weather pattern begins to reorganize in a much more dramatic way, because behind this storm, the door opens wide to Arctic air. Monday the 19th turns sharply colder, Tuesday the 20th even colder, and this is not just a brief dip in temperatures. This is the beginning of a sustained Arctic outbreak that digs deep into the central and eastern United States and refuses to let go. By midweek, we introduced the next disturbance, a classic clipper system diving southeast out of Canada. These systems may not always grab headlines, but they are incredibly efficient. Light to moderate snow spreads across the northern plains, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and into the Ohio Valley, while reinforcing the already entrenched cold air. By Wednesday into Thursday, even parts of the northern mid-Atlantic and far northeast may see snow showers sneaking in. But the real attention grabber, the system that has my full focus right now, arrives as we approach Friday the 23rd. This is the storm that has all the ingredients in place. And when I say ingredients, I'm talking about the exact setup meteorologists look for when trying to identify major winter storms. First, we have deep, rich moisture surging north out of the Gulf of Mexico. Second, we have a powerful Arctic air mass plunging south out of Canada. Third, we have strong upper-level energy diving out of the Rockies and into the plains, right along the eastern slopes of the Rockies, across Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, and eastern Colorado. Those air masses collide. Cold air undercuts warm, moisture-laden air, lift intensifies, and storm development accelerates. Right now, this system is still 6 to 7 days away, and yes, the details will absolutely change. But what stands out to me is the trend. Stronger moisture, colder air, better organization, more widespread impacts. By Saturday evening, heavy snow begins breaking out across Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Tennessee. At the same time, a dangerous ice storm develops across Texas, southern Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. And I want to emphasize this very clearly. The ice threat with this system may be just as significant, if not more so, than the snow. We are not talking about a light glaze. We are talking about freezing rain capable of snapping tree limbs, bringing down power lines, shutting down highways, and leaving communities without electricity for extended periods of time. Ice storms are often the most disruptive winter weather events we deal with, and this one has all the ingredients to become a serious concern across the Deep South and Southeast. As we move overnight into Sunday, the storm expands northeastward. Snow begins piling up across the Smoky Mountains, northern North Carolina, Virginia, the Delmarva, and possibly into southern New Jersey. Meanwhile, freezing rain continues across Georgia and the Carolinas, creating a dangerous travel and infrastructure situation. Eventually, this system pulls offshore. But the pattern does not relax. In fact, it becomes even more hostile. Behind this storm, the Arctic air tightens its grip. Another surge of cold pours southward, and yet another piece of northern energy dives into the flow. Once again, we are watching the same critical question. Does the northern stream connect with southern moisture, or do the two remain separate? If they phase together cleanly, we are talking about another major winter storm. If they stay split, we end up with a weaker, more scattered event. And this type of pattern, where northern and southern streams repeatedly interact, is exactly what produces some of the most active and memorable winters. Now let's talk about the cold itself, because honestly, this may be the most extreme part of the forecast. Early in the week, we are already running 15 to 25 degrees below normal. By late week, across the plains, Midwest, and Great Lakes, temperature anomalies plunge to 30, 35, even 40 degrees below normal. That is extraordinary. That places many locations into dangerously cold territory. Wind chills become brutal. Exposed skin can freeze within minutes. Heating demand surges. Infrastructure becomes stressed. This is the kind of cold that becomes a serious public safety issue, and it does not leave quickly. We are looking at a solid week or more of persistent Arctic air, reinforced by multiple surges, before any meaningful moderation becomes possible. Now let's shift into snowfall totals and storm tracks, because this is where things get especially interesting. The European model paints heavy snow across the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and interior Northeast. It also shows substantial snowfall across parts of the southern plains, Tennessee, Kentucky, and the southern mid-Atlantic. But there is a noticeable gap. Parts of the Ohio Valley and central mid-Atlantic end up caught between storm tracks, with heavy snow north and heavy snow south, but relatively little in between. The GFS model pushes the storm track even farther south, placing the bullseye across northern Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Now here's the key. At this range, the GFS has a well-documented tendency to push systems too far south. So when I see that solution, I don't take it at face value. Instead, I ask one simple question. What happens when this trends north? And historically, it often does. If that shift occurs, suddenly the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and even parts of southern New England become much more involved in this storm. And I'll be very honest with you, that would not surprise me at all. As we push deeper into the extended range, we even see signals for another potential coastal system near the start of February. The European hints at warming. The GFS says, not so fast. Cold air still present. A developing offshore low, a favorable large-scale pattern. Those are the two ingredients we look for at long range. And when they show up together, you always have to pay attention. So here is the big picture. We are entering a highly active winter pattern. Multiple storm threats, multiple snowfall opportunities, significant ice potential, and one of the strongest Arctic outbreaks of the season. This is a pattern filled with volatility. Storm tracks will shift, models will flip, details will change. But the activity level is undeniable. Winter is not done, not even close. And over the next several days, this pattern is going to give us plenty to track, analyze, and update. I'll be right here breaking it all down every step of the way. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you are, because this is the kind of pattern where updates matter every single day. Turn on notifications so you never miss one. And if this forecast helped you understand what's ahead, hit that like button. It truly helps this channel grow. Drop a comment below, let me know where you're watching from, and I'll see you in the next update.